Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to the Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Today, our guest is James. James, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on, Qasim.
Awesome. So, James, let me know where you live and what you do.
Yeah, definitely. So I live in Austin, Texas, and I am the founder of Say It Back. It's a creative marketing agency, and we focus largely in social first content and ads.
Awesome. Well, my partner is also living in Austin. That's great. Awesome. So, James, can you let me know what inspired you to become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. It was sort of a mixture of always having creative, out of the box ideas in past roles, as well as just wanting to lead a team to being able to accomplish something within. Honestly, I've always wanted to go into tech. I think also my background experience in music and writing really led me here as well, is just being able to sort of position my thoughts and my concepts and innovations in such a way that I believe it can best benefit the markets.
Awesome. That's great. So,
Yeah.
James, what are your core responsibilities as a founder? Because a founder may have a lot of responsibilities, but which hats you are wearing at this point?
Yeah, that's a great question. My core responsibilities right now is really delegating and managing my teams so that we're able to best execute on the strategies. I would say probably even primary to that is, as the creative strategist and founder within my company, is being able to execute on broader strategies that are consistent across all of our clients, as well as allowing our clients individually to stay up to date.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, James, in terms of delegating the responsibilities, I believe this is a process and it involves a lot of other things as well. So, what do you think when one should start delegating the responsibilities? Because obviously, there must be a point when you have to delegate the responsibilities. Otherwise, you will get overwhelmed.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's going to definitely differ from every founder, as different industries will demand different things. And depending on your degree of scaling or your speed of scaling, many tasks that maybe you were once great at may become too laborsome for you as a founder to. I mean, if you're going to position yourself as a founder and CEO, then you're going to move largely to that delegating role a lot faster than someone who positions themselves within like a specialist role as a founder and really wants to be in the weeds with product or with execution and operations. So I would say that the best way to measure it is by understanding sort of what are your top revenue generating tasks and jobs within your company, and to execute on the top revenue generating tasks as frequently as possible. I would say that's the easiest answer.
Yeah, makes sense. So, James, being a founder is not that easy, and entrepreneurship demands the sacrifices as well. So, what's the biggest personal sacrifice that you have made as an entrepreneur?
Ooh. I mean, probably the most quantifiable would just be in capital. I mean, the amount that I've invested into my business is probably more than I'm comfortable sharing. But I would say, I mean, there are things that sort of have to leave your life, as far as like relationships or locations or activities that you can't really quantify as easily. You know, I might not get to go and join in with all of my friends' activities as I might like, and substitute them for maybe networking or for executing for my clients' strategies. And there's always those kinds of trade-offs, but definitely being a founder from, especially in a bootstrapped industry, it's very demanding as far as sacrifices.
Yeah, makes sense. So, let's try to understand your business a bit more. So, what problem does your business solve, and how did you identify it?
That's a great question. So uniquely, we solve the need for creative, for high quality creative, and specifically within short form content formats. We also do work with long form content formats as well. But at a broader scope, the problem that we're solving is it's exposure while having an affinity for performance. So we help companies get the visibility that they desperately need. And at the same time, we're able to actually convert audiences into customers with a high degree of measurement and tracking, as well as like being able to utilize that data into further campaigns.
So, what was your first big breakthrough moment? Because I'm sure there can be more than one, but what was the very first?
That's a great question. I've worked within ads before starting up my business, and there were definitely some massive breakthrough moments that brought me to wanting to start the business and feeling like I could actually do this on my own and build a team around it as well. But within the business, I would have to say it's just a number of relationships that were breakthrough for me. And there's an amount of trust that is needed within those relationships, and being able to establish that level of trust with someone who's able to drastically shift the trajectory of my business. Those have got to be the best breakthroughs for me, because people often say your network is your net worth. I would like to say, I mean, the people in your life who believe in you, those are the gifts that keep on giving. Because, I mean, there's really no end to what a solid partner can do for you in this world.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. So when we talk about the other pieces outside of your company, like the partners and the others where you do have some, I would say, business relations. So do you think this thing work, like more networking, more PR, and more partnerships? Does this work for any business or not?
I think if we were more of a product-based business, there's an amount of difference between how much effort and time and money I would be delegating to that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I heard recently someone say that if you're spending more on your product than you are on marketing, then you're letting your go to waste. So I really do think that marketing is extremely important, and to be able to get that brand awareness, no matter who your customer base is it's vastly important. And it's in the modern age, especially, you need to be able to deliver something that is much more tangible and real and authentic than maybe in previous years. I think PR has evolved immensely over the last 5 years, let alone the last decade.
Yeah, in fact, right now the market is overcrowded. Everybody is doing marketing in their own way, but I believe in this way you may win trust more easily, or maybe at least you can develop your trust. But all right. So on the other hand, how you are doing the marketing side, because there's a complete journey of customer acquisition where there are many elements involved, like marketing is involved, sales involved, relations involved, word of mouth, partners, and a lot of things. But how it looks like at your side, how you're doing the marketing and how you acquire the customer?
That's a great question. So the thesis of my business has really been very niche in the fact that we are focused in content and ads and influencers within specifically TikTok, but more broadly, we branch out to YouTube and Instagram as well, and even an amount of LinkedIn, just because that content is so universal now. So as far as marketing to find my clients, it's largely been going to agencies and VCs and accelerators and other businesses that have a vested interest in a large portfolio of companies succeeding. They oftentimes need someone who is able to execute on these channels. And it's not something that has been integrated into every digital marketing agency yet. So most of my partners come to me for those specialty needs.
Makes sense. So have you ever faced a situation where you had to make a hard decision? So maybe you can share some challenge or that is related to your hardest decision as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I think one of the hardest situations that I faced in the early days of being an entrepreneur was having to give up living alone. So I, in the early days, was still building my revenue and my recurring revenue streams at that. And as an entrepreneur, you can't easily commit to a year-long lease by yourself, being that you have to prove income. And it's very complicated, more complicated than it needs to be. But I did have to move out of my 1-bedroom house and I had to find a new living situation. So that was super tough. But it's those kind of things that sort of force you to get the rubber to the road and start generating some real difference-making wealth. And not just in my life, but in the lives of my team as well.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So I'm sure you must have been working on your short-term and long-term goals. And these goals are obviously important for every company, for every entrepreneur. So what is your long-term vision for the company?
My long-term vision for the company sort of goes back to why I originally started the company. And it was sort of, it was almost like a bleeding heart ethos of like, I have such a soft spot for artists and musicians, and I really want to be able to help starting and emerging artists and musicians. And what I realized early on is that early and emerging artists and musicians are small businesses these days. They themselves are and have the same needs when it comes to what I do as small businesses and startups. So I have a number of people who need my services that I'm not able to work with right now that I would like to circle back to. As my business grows, we'll be able to develop more of like a growth and launching strategy for businesses that have a lot more upside potential, but maybe not as much investment into marketing in the early days, especially those product-based businesses. They have to spend so much just developing their MVPs and finding product market fit. But being able to circle back and help, especially artists and musicians, I feel like is something I'd like to grow into a lot more.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And what you're thinking about like in next 6 months?
So over the next 6 months, that's a great question. Building out a new segment of my business that allows me to position our strategy offering as more of a product rather than like the entire package of like, we'll take it and run with it. We can act more as an appendage to larger businesses. And from there sort of develop like a broader strategy for some of these larger businesses. Because in this next 6 months, the hurdle is like most of the big businesses who we work with who are spending 6 and 7 figures per month on advertising, they want to bring someone in internally. And as an agency, that is sort of a common objection that I feel. And it's something that I feel strongly that a well-equipped agency is able to outperform somebody who you have on salary 9 times out of 10.
Got it. Well, that's great. Awesome. So, James, at the end, can you please give us the biggest piece of advice for our entrepreneurs and the ones who are thinking to start their own business?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my business is service-based, and I take my advice as a founder in my own right with a grain of salt in that way. But from my visibility into the hundreds of founders, even thousands of founders that I've helped in my time working on ads and really having a lot of visibility into the weeds of these businesses, is to follow through with your first hero product. Whatever it is that really got you up and going may not end up being the thing that takes your brand to the market, and you can always grow back into your original vision. But whatever it is that truly hits and that the market begins to pull out of you as a need, that's the thing that you need to follow through with. And that's the thing that you need to dedicate all of your time to until you're able to develop a scalable business where you can publish more products than one.
Awesome. That's a beautiful advice. Thanks, James. So at the end, how can the listeners connect with you and learn more about your business and about you?
That's a great question. Yeah, you can definitely find us at our website. My company is called Say It Back, and our website is sayitback.net. But the reason why we made it that is really it's our call to action as well as our name in getting people to do something on the other side of the screen and to be an active participant in what you're watching. Definitely, you can find us at our website. You can find me on LinkedIn James B. McManus, and then our email is linked on our website as well.
Got it. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
thanks so much, Qasim.
Awesome. Well, James, thank you so much for joining us today. It was really nice to talking to you, and hopefully we will stay in touch.
Yeah, it was great. It was great being on. I appreciate the Think Big podcast and Zing as well. So yeah, we'll stay in touch.
So nice of you. Have a good day. We will meet you again. Bye-bye.
Okay.